Recently, I teamed up with T. Roy Broussard of Swamp People fame to try and drain the swamp.
In Texas, swamps and wetlands stretch across the land, full of life and hidden dangers. For many years, people have tried to drain or control these wet areas, yet they are still mostly left alone, even as accidents and deaths happen. Why does the state let such risky land stay as it is? Almost like inviting trouble. The reason is more than just stubbornness. These swamps play a very vital role. Every tree, marsh, and waterway has a role beyond human use. So why does Texas keep them standing, even when people die? Join us in this video as we discuss the details. The reason swamps in Texas are not drained. Wetlands, often known as swamps, are some of the most productive ecosystems on Earth, standing alongside rainforests and coral reefs. A huge variety of life exists in wetlands, including tiny microbes, plants, insects, amphibians, reptiles, birds, fish, and mammals. Factors such as climate, land shape, soil and rock types, and the movement and amount of water help decide which plants and animals live in each wetland. The many changing relationships between living organisms in wetlands are called food webs. This explains why wetlands in places like Texas, North Carolina, and Alaska are very different from one another. Wetlands are often described as biological supermarkets because they produce large amounts of food that attract many animals. These animals depend on wetlands for part or all of their lives. When plants die, their leaves and stems fall into the water and slowly break down into tiny pieces of organic matter called detritus. This rich material feeds small water insects, shellfish, and young fish. In turn, these small creatures become food for larger fish, reptiles, amphibians, birds, and mammals. The roles wetlands play and the benefits humans receive from them depend on complex connections between wetlands and other ecosystems within a watershed. A watershed is an area of land where water, soil, and dissolved materials flow from higher ground down to a shared low point, such as a river, lake, underground water supply, or estuary. Shallow water, combined with high nutrient levels, creates perfect conditions for plants and tiny organisms that form the base of the food web. Many fish, insects, amphibians, and shellfish rely on this food base to survive. Birds and mammals also depend on wetlands for food, drinking water, and shelter, especially during migration and breeding seasons. Wetlands are not useless or unhealthy places. Instead, they provide benefits that no other ecosystem can offer. These benefits include cleaning polluted water naturally, reducing floods, controlling erosion along shorelines, offering recreation opportunities, providing scenic beauty, and supplying natural resources at no cost. Protecting wetlands helps protect human lives, health, and property. More than 1/3 of threatened and endangered species in the United States live only in wetlands. Nearly half of these species depend on wetlands at some point in their lives. Many other plants and animals also rely on wetlands to survive. Coastal wetlands are especially important for marine and estuarine, fish, shellfish, birds, and certain mammals. Most commercial and game fish lay eggs and raise young in coastal marshes and estuaries. Fish such as menhaden, flounder, sea trout, spot, croaker, and striped bass all depend on coastal wetlands. Shrimp, oysters, clams, blue crabs, and Dungeness crabs also need these areas for food, shelter, and breeding. Inland wetlands are the only places where some plants and animals can live. Species like wood ducks, muskrats, cattails, and swamp roses depend entirely on inland wetlands. Beavers can even create wetlands by building dams that slow water flow. Other animals, including peregrine falcons, otters, black bears, raccoons, deer, and striped bass, rely on wetlands for food, water, or shelter during parts of their lives. Many bird species that breed in the United States, such as ducks, geese, woodpeckers, hawks, wading birds, and songbirds, use wetlands to feed, nest, and raise their young. Wetlands located near or below cities are especially valuable because they help manage the large amount of runoff caused by roads and buildings. Their ability to hold water reduces flooding and prevents farmland from becoming waterlogged. Protecting and restoring wetlands, along with other water storage methods, can replace costly flood control systems like levees and dredging. Wetlands along the Mississippi River once held 60 days of floodwater, but now they hold only 12 days because many have been drained or filled. Because wetlands support so many living things, losing them causes serious damage to nature. When wetlands disappear, wildlife loses homes, water quality drops, floods worsen, and communities suffer long-term environmental and economic problems that are difficult to reverse. Could there be another reason why a state known for heat, open land, and growing cities choose to protect its swamps instead of draining them? Stay tuned for more. Birdlife and habitat diversity at Edinburgh's Scenic Wetlands. Edinburgh's Scenic Wetlands and World Birding Center in the Rio Grande Valley of South Texas is well known for birding, even though much of the surrounding land is dry and made up of open spaces, deserts, and dry woodlands. Because water is limited in this region, wetlands and marshes become very important places where birds and other animals gather for food, shelter, and survival. Edinburgh's Scenic Wetlands is described as a fairly new park, opening in 2003. It is part of the larger group of parks and protected areas in South Texas. The site includes about 2.5 miles of walking trails, a visitor center, and several ponds and canals. These water areas are the main reason many birds are attracted to the wetlands. Tourist visitation focused mainly on finding water birds, especially kingfisher species known to live in the region. Bird activity is noticeable immediately upon arrival, even before entering the main wetland area. Early sightings include a long-billed thrasher that was heard singing, very small Inca doves, and a plain chachalaca seen up close. Some early observations suggested the area had a high number of active birds. The wetlands were described as full of life, with birds appearing constantly. According to reports, some tourists first walked through drier garden areas before reaching the water. During this time, several bird species were observed, including black-crested titmice, a clay-colored thrush, and multiple Nashville warblers. The number of birds seen before even reaching the ponds showed how rich the habitat was across the entire site. The birds were active and visible along the trails and in the surrounding plants. As the visit continued, more species were spotted while moving toward wetter areas believed to be good habitats for kingfishers. These sightings included great-tailed grackles, an indigo bunting, yellow-rumped warblers, and curve-billed thrashers running along the ground. In a drier section of the wetlands, scissor-tailed flycatchers were seen. These birds were described as migratory and usually linked to drier areas, making their presence in this part of Texas interesting. After spending time away from the water, the tourists returned to the ponds and stopped at several lookout points. Water birds seen at this stage included coots, blue-winged teals, and black-bellied whistling ducks. At a smaller pond, the group observed a black phoebe and a great kiskadee. Shortly after, one of the main target birds for the visit appeared. The green kingfisher was successfully spotted, marking a major highlight of the trip. This bird was described as small, with a dark green head and back, a large bill, and a white collar. Differences between males and females were noted. Females have a white underside with 1 or 2 green stripes across the chest, while males have a bright reddish chest. The green kingfisher is known to live year-round in Mexico and South America, and is most commonly found in the United States in South Texas. The bird was seen near thick plants close to the water's edge. Green kingfishers prefer to stay low and often perch in vegetation rather than diving from high above the water. They mainly feed on small freshwater fish, which they catch by diving from low positions. After observing the green kingfisher, the tourists searched for the second target species, the ringed kingfisher. This species prefers open areas and often perches on exposed branches above the water. Despite careful searching and help from other birders, the ringed kingfisher was not found during the visit. Another important sighting occurred when a groove-billed annie was spotted after another birder pointed it out. This species is uncommon in South Texas during that time of year, making it a special find. Further exploration included a boardwalk area where an orange-crowned warbler was seen bathing and showing its orange head. The visitor center was also visited, where a large great blue heron statue was noticed. The visit ended with more sightings of yellow-crowned night herons, additional green kingfishers, and several warblers, confirming the wetlands as a valuable birding location. These wetlands serve as tourist attractions. This is another reason why swamps in Texas are not drained. If wetlands are so full of life and provide such important habitats for birds, fish, and other wildlife, why have humans spent so much time draining and filling them? And what makes them truly valuable? Let's take a closer look. Understanding wetlands and their importance. For a very long time, people thought wetlands were useless areas of land. They called them wastelands because they seemed messy, wet, and unproductive. Many people did not understand what wetlands could do or how important they were for the environment. Because of this misunderstanding, humans often drained or filled wetlands to make space for houses, farms, and industries. Over many years, this caused a large loss of wetlands. Today, less than half of the wetlands that originally existed in the country still remain. Even though some people thought wetlands were useless, they are very important. Wetlands are not only valuable for wildlife, they also provide many important benefits to humans, though many of these benefits are invisible or not immediately obvious. Wetlands come in many different forms, each with its own characteristics. Some wetlands are swamps, which are areas covered with trees and standing water for most of the year. Others are bogs, which have very wet, spongy soil and unique plants that grow in nutrient-poor conditions. Marshes are wetlands dominated by grasses and herbaceous plants, often flooded for part of the year. Potholes are small depressions that collect water and provide temporary habitats for animals and birds. Playa lakes are shallow, seasonal wetlands found mostly in dry areas with little water. Wetlands can also include lakes, creeks, streams, and areas near rivers. These areas can be large or small, and they can exist near cities, towns, or in remote countryside areas. Texas has a remarkable diversity of wetlands. There are 6 major types in the state. Along the Gulf Coast, there are saltwater marshes and freshwater marshes. Playa lakes are common in the Panhandle, and coastal potholes are found in dry areas where rivers and streams are rare. Freshwater springs and headwater streams are mainly located in central and southwest Texas. Forested wetlands, such as bottomland hardwood forest, are found in eastern and central parts of the state. Even West Texas has smaller wetland areas, although they are less common. Each type of wetland has its own plants and animals, but all share certain characteristics. All wetlands are covered by water for at least part of the year, have soil that is soaked with water, and support plants that thrive in wet conditions. Many wetlands in Texas are located on private land. This means that the land belongs to individuals, families, or companies. Because of this, people who live nearby can play an important role in protecting these areas. Children, parents, and schools can help by learning about wetlands, monitoring them, or participating in conservation projects. Even small actions like cleaning up trash, observing wildlife, and reporting changes can make a difference. Wetlands are fragile, and they can be damaged easily, but they can also recover if humans take the right steps to protect them. Humans have been responsible for much of the wetland loss. Farmers often drain wetlands to plant crops, removing the water that plants and animals need. Loggers cut down trees and drain swamps, which destroys the homes of animals. Ranchers sometimes remove water for irrigation, making the land too dry for wetland plants to survive. Cities and industries have also caused damage. Houses, roads, factories, and power plants are often built on wetlands. Pollution, oil spills, and improper waste disposal further harm these areas. All of these actions show that humans can cause serious damage, but humans also have the power to protect and restore wetlands. Knowing how critical wetlands are and how much they have been damaged, what steps can communities, schools, and individuals take to save and restore these essential habitats? Let's learn more. Protecting wetlands and the role of humans. Wetlands are not just important for animals, they are very important for humans too. One of the key roles wetlands play is acting like a natural sponge. When it rains heavily or during storms and hurricanes, wetlands soak up water. This prevents floods from destroying homes, roads, and farms. Wetland plants hold soil in place. Without these plants, soil can wash away into rivers, lakes, or oceans, or it can be blown away by the wind. When soil moves into rivers and oceans, it can harm fish and other aquatic life. Wetlands also act as natural filters. Water moving through wetlands passes through soil, roots, and plants, which remove pollutants and help keep the water clean. Some of this water then seeps into underground storage areas called aquifers. These aquifers store water that people and animals use, which makes wetlands critical for maintaining a clean and safe water supply. Birds are one of the most visible groups of animals that depend on wetlands. Wetlands provide food, water, and shelter for hundreds of thousands of birds. Some birds, like snow geese and Canada geese, use wetlands every year. Others, like migratory neotropical birds, stop at Texas wetlands after traveling long distances from Mexico or Central America. These birds need wetlands to rest and eat before continuing north to their breeding grounds. Endangered species, including whooping cranes, brown pelicans, and bald eagles, also rely on wetlands for survival. Coastal wetlands are especially important for fish and shellfish. Young fish, shrimp, crabs, and oysters grow up in these areas before moving to larger bodies of water. In fact, a very high percentage of commercial fish and shellfish depend on wetlands for at least part of their life cycle. Without wetlands, these species would struggle, and industries like fishing and seafood harvesting would be severely affected. Humans are both the cause of wetland loss and the key to wetland protection. Programs exist that allow communities, schools, and individuals to participate in wetland conservation. One such program allows people to adopt a wetland. This means they take responsibility for protecting it, restoring it, and learning about it. The process often includes 3 steps: protecting existing wetlands, restoring or improving wetlands that have been damaged, and conducting research to learn more about wetland ecosystems. Fieldwork is a very important part of this process. People monitor water quality, count and watch animals, and observe plants. The information collected helps scientists, government agencies, and conservation organizations make better decisions about wetland protection. Protecting wetlands benefits both people and wildlife. Healthy wetlands prevent flooding, hold soil in place, filter water, and provide habitat for birds, fish, and other animals. They also provide recreational opportunities, natural beauty, and resources that humans use for food and enjoyment. Everyone can contribute to wetland protection, from children to adults, from schools to community organizations. Actions as simple as planting native wetland plants, avoiding pollution, and supporting conservation programs make a real difference. By protecting wetlands, humans ensure that these important areas continue to provide homes for wildlife, clean water, and safety from floods. In conclusion, wetlands are some of the most important ecosystems in Texas and the United States. They were once misunderstood and undervalued, but today their importance is recognized. Wetlands support a wide variety of wildlife, including birds, fish, and endangered species. They prevent flooding, stabilize soil, filter water, and provide natural beauty and resources. While human activity has caused damage to wetlands over the years, people also have the ability to protect and restore them. Programs that involve communities, schools, and individuals, along with careful management and education, can ensure that wetlands survive for future generations. Wetlands are not wastelands, they are vital, living ecosystems that sustain life for animals and humans alike. If wetlands are so essential for animals, water, and the land, what steps do experts take to identify and protect them when people plan to build or change the land? Let's find out. Identifying and protecting wetlands during construction. Identifying a wetland is the first step in understanding and protecting it, especially when construction or other human activities are planned nearby. Wetlands are special areas that are either covered with water or have water coming up from the ground for a certain part of the year. These areas are home to many plants and animals that depend on water to survive. To know if a piece of land is a wetland, experts look at 2 main things: the types of plants growing there and the condition of the soil. Certain plants are called wetland indicator species because they can live in wet, waterlogged soil and cannot grow well in dry places. Examples of these plants include ferns, highbush blueberries, jewelweed, and many other plants that like to stay in wet areas. The presence of these plants gives a strong signal that the area is a wetland. Soil is another important factor in finding wetlands. Wetland soil is usually dark and rich because it holds water for a long time. This kind of soil is called hydric soil. Upland soil, which is found in dry areas, is lighter in color, often brown or orange, and does not hold water for long. Scientists can test the soil using simple tools like a hand auger to dig small samples. By looking at the soil's color, texture, and moisture, experts can tell whether the area is a wetland or not. Sometimes, intermittent streams, small streams that dry up at certain times of the year, can run through or near wetlands. Observing these streams can also help in identifying wetland areas. Once a wetland is identified, the next step is to mark its exact boundaries. This process is called wetland delineation. Specialists walk the land and place flags or markers around the edges of the wetland. These markers are recorded and then shown on site plans by surveyors. The site plan is used by engineers and planners to design construction projects while minimizing damage to the wetland. This step is very important because in many states, working near wetlands requires permission from local authorities. For example, in Massachusetts, any work within 100 feet of a wetland must be approved by the town's Conservation Commission. By clearly marking wetlands, builders can follow the rules and make sure they are not harming sensitive areas. Sometimes, construction may still affect a small portion of the wetland. In these cases, it is necessary to create a replacement area, which is called wetland replication. Wetland replication means creating a new wetland to replace the area that was disturbed. The new wetland must have similar conditions to the original one. Experts make sure the soil, elevation, and nutrients are matched so that plants can grow properly. They plant native wetland species that were in the original wetland. These plants help restore the wetland's functions, such as providing food and shelter for wildlife, controlling floods, and filtering water. A well-designed replication area can continue to provide the benefits of a natural wetland even after construction. After replication, monitoring is necessary to make sure the wetland grows successfully. Specialists and government agencies check the area regularly, usually twice a year for a few years. They look at the health of the plants, water levels, soil conditions, and how well the wetland is supporting wildlife. If problems are found, steps are taken to fix them so that the wetland can thrive. This process ensures that the replacement wetland continues to function properly and provides long-term benefits. Overall, identifying wetlands, marking their boundaries, replicating damaged areas, and monitoring their growth are all important steps in protecting these vital ecosystems. By paying attention to plant types, soil conditions, and water flow, experts can understand where wetlands are and how best to preserve them. Wetlands are essential because they support wildlife, prevent floods, and clean water naturally. When construction is needed, following these careful steps ensures that humans can develop land while still protecting the environment. This shows that development and conservation can work together when proper planning and expert guidance are used. Protecting wetlands is not just about plants and water. It is about maintaining the balance of nature and supporting all the animals and humans that depend on these special places. If wetlands are so important for water, wildlife, and communities, how might experiencing them firsthand help us understand why they truly matter? Let's delve deeper. Learning from wetlands. The East Fork Wetland Experience. Wetlands are very special places. They are found all over the world. They can be swamps, marshes, or bogs. They can be by the coast or far inland. Wetlands are different from other places because the soil is very wet for much of the year. They are home to many plants and animals. The East Fork Wetland, also called the John Booker Science Wetland Center, is one of these special places. It is located just east of Dallas, Texas. This wetland is very big. It covers about 2,000 acres. It is not just an open wetland. It also has hillsides and areas along streams and rivers. These areas are called riparian zones. The wetland has many types of plants and animals that live together. One of the most important things about the East Fork Wetland is education. Schools bring students here to learn. For example, students from Black Elementary School in the Mesquite Independent School District visit the wetland. When the students arrive, they get off the buses and start walking along the boardwalk. The boardwalk goes over the wetland. The students spend about 20 to 30 minutes observing what is around them. They look for animals, birds, fish, frogs, and insects. They notice plants and learn how they grow. Sometimes they even spot dragonflies or fish in the water. The students can see how plants and animals live together. This makes them feel connected to nature. They learn to respect the environment. They learn that they are part of a bigger system. The East Fork Wetland is not just a classroom. It is also a water treatment system. It can clean up to 90 million gallons of water every day. This water comes from the Trinity River. The wetland uses natural ways to clean water. It uses plants, sunlight, and gravity. The plants in the wetland, such as cattails and arrowheads, help remove dirt, phosphorus, and nitrogen from the water. As water moves through the wetland, it becomes cleaner. This water can then be used by people for drinking, cooking, and other needs. The wetland was not always like this. Many years ago, it was a cattle ranch. The land had been leveled, drained, and divided into large, square pastures. Then, John Bunker Sands had an idea. He wanted to turn this land into a wetland. He worked with others to create a wetland that could help the environment and people. They planted new plants like cattails and bulrushes to make the wetland healthy again. They made sure the water could flow through the marshes. These plants help the water filter naturally as it moves. This way, the wetland cleans the water and also gives plants and animals a place to live. This wetland is important for people too. It helps supply water to the local community. Even the creator's own family benefits from this water. By protecting the wetland, they are also protecting clean water for their homes. The wetland also protects other parts of the river. It keeps the aquatic environment safe for fish and other animals. This shows that wetlands can be both practical and protective. They help people and nature at the same time. If exploring and observing wetlands can teach students about nature and water, how can hands-on experiences inspire them to protect and care for these vital ecosystems in the long term? Let's find out more. Inspiring students and protecting nature. The East Fork Wetland is also a place for students to explore science. Students do more than just look at animals. They touch the plants. They watch the water closely. They may even handle fish or insects. This hands-on experience is very different from learning in a classroom. Students can see how wetlands work. They learn that wetlands are important not just for animals, but for humans too. The water that is cleaned in the wetland is the same water people use at home. They use it to cook, to drink, to flush toilets, and to shower. Understanding this connection helps students care about nature and water. The wetland also teaches students about problem-solving and creativity. By seeing how people transformed a cattle ranch into a working wetland, students learn that human ideas can help the environment. They learn that, with planning and effort, people can fix problems caused by past land use. The wetland shows that nature and people can work together. Students are inspired to think about careers in science, biology, and environmental protection. Some may want to become scientists or biologists. Others may simply learn to appreciate nature in a new way. The East Fork Wetland uses special plants to keep the water clean. Plants like cattails, arrowheads, and bulrushes are very important. They are planted carefully to cover the wetland. As water moves through these plants, it slows down. Sediments and other impurities are removed naturally. This is called natural filtration. It is one way the wetland helps people. It also provides habitat for many animals. Fish, frogs, ducks, and insects all live in the wetland. Birds and other wildlife also use it for food and shelter. This wetland is also about long-term care. After planting, the wetland is monitored. Experts check that the plants grow well. They make sure the water stays clean. Students and staff can visit and learn from these observations. By keeping track of the wetland, they ensure it stays healthy for years. The wetland continues to provide clean water, a safe place for animals, and learning opportunities. In conclusion, the East Fork Wetland is more than just a wetland. It is a classroom, a water treatment plant, and a habitat for wildlife. It is a place where students can connect with nature, learn about science, and see how humans can work with the environment. It shows that wetlands are not just land with water. They are living systems that support life, protect communities, and inspire the next generation. By visiting, studying, and caring for wetlands like this one, people can understand their value and work to preserve them. Wetlands are essential for life, and the East Fork Wetland is an example of how they can be used wisely for both nature and people. What is your opinion on the idea of draining wetlands? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you for joining us as we explored the importance of wetlands and the impact of draining them. We hope you found this report eye-opening and informative. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the next video on your screen to learn more about protecting our natural ecosystems. See you there.